So welcome in this Audi A6 E-tron, and the first impression is I'm sitting really high in it. It feels almost like I'm in some kind of SUV. I have a really good visibility, although I think that swooping line, it kind of feels like the windscreen, it's much smaller than it looks from the outside. But let me tell you what grabbed my attention straight away when I got into this car, and even before. It's the lack of the traditional mirrors. So the car is equipped in the cameras, which isn't a standard. And to be honest, I'm not sure how I feel about it. Actually, they aren't too bad. I think the screens are very bright and they provide you with enough visibility. So I'm not concerned about it, although this is the first car I'm in with this type of technology. Ahead of me, I have a very, very bright head-up display, and you can't hide the fact that the car feels really plush. The suspension so far deals with imperfections in a really nice way. It's very well insulated when it comes to the sound, so the potholes and kind of bigger imperfections in the road, they don't really make much difference in terms of the ride comfort. You feel that the car goes over them, but in terms of the vibrations and the sounds, that actually isn't really that present in the cabin. And obviously, as an EV, this car is, it's very quiet. There is no wind noise whatsoever so far, and it just feels perfectly as a cruiser. What I really like about it is when I jump into the previous version of A6, I felt like it was huge. It was actually too big to me. It did not wrap around the driver. It felt quite like sitting in a big lounge or a conference hall. This one feels more like it's driver focused, which I really, really like. The car accelerates quite nicely. At the moment, I'm in a normal mode. I'm not in any dynamic, but this is something I'm gonna switch to in a moment. But in terms of its weight, which is almost 2.2 ton due to all the batteries, the car hides it extremely well. Obviously, it has quite big wheels and quite wide tires, which means that the car has plenty to offer in terms of grip, and it stays flat through the corners, which is really surprising when you think about the weight of the car and the size of the car. But yes, it really deals with the road and the challenges on the road very well. It's almost fun to drive, and I'm scared to say that for people to start shouting at me because it's an EV, but really this car feels like it can actually deal with more dynamic driving as well as normal drive. But let's focus on the normal driving. As I said, beautiful ride quality, very quiet. When it comes to cabin, I love Audis inside. Although I have to say that you can actually see some cost cuttings. So it's a mixture of very high quality tech and very nice looking seats, and overall the interior looks fantastic. However, here and there you can actually see some kind of scratchy plastics and things which you can see are not worth a lot of money. And this is a trend I've mentioned in my other videos, where unfortunately in the new cars very often there were some cost cuttings which unfortunately can spoil the overall feel of the car, because otherwise, I mean, you've got Alcantara here, you've got Bang & Olufsen sound, so the car feels and looks from the distance fantastic, and it's nice to touch in majority of places, but when it actually comes to like details, when you actually start looking at those door handles, that's when you spot that there were some cost cutting involved. But let's move now to dynamic, because I want to see how this car performs when I have a bit more fun in it. Ooh, definitely a big change in the power delivery. The car really pushes forward when you press accelerator. I'm trying to drive more dynamically, and by nature I'm grabbing the wheel a bit more tight, and I start pressing these buttons on the steering wheel by accident. This is quite annoying, and it could have been avoided by just moving them slightly to the center. But other than that, again, that square steering wheel, it matches the lines of the interior of the car and actually doesn't bother me at all, which I thought might be the case. In terms of the technology inside, I've already felt on a couple of occasions like the car was pulling me back in the lane, so all of those gizmos are there, and I left them on. I haven't turned them off, but yeah, the car moves really well through the corners. The undulations in the road, they don't feel like an issue for this car, even in those tight, really tight corners at higher speed. The car just deals with it. And again, very tight corner over the crest, and the car dealt with it fantastically. So let me go back to daily driving mode, really, which will be our comfort drive, and see how the car feels. It calms down again. It just delivers a smooth drive, which is great, and probably 95% of the time this car will be used in this way. But it's good to know that if you switch it to dynamic, it can actually deliver a bit of fun too. It's not too soft, it's not too sloppy, it's not moving excessively on the road. You actually can't feel any movement. With these wheels and tires, this car feels like it's glued to the road. And over this ride, I really, despite the seats being slightly on the firm side when it comes to the firmness of the seat, they actually hold me quite well. Not as well as the sport seats, but reasonably well, and they are comfortable. Ready? Go. It doesn't feel that fast from 0 to 60, or shall I say from 0 to 30. It's almost like the car is limited electronically to make it smoother, and I think it does make sense with this type of vehicle, because 95% of the drivers, if not 99% of the drivers, will use this car as a daily driver, as a comfortable cruiser, which will take them to work, back, and then, you know, load it with family and dog, and they can go for a weekend, because it's a big car. It's a big car. And let's talk about dimensions now for a moment.
At 499 centimeters, it's a big car. It's also 16 centimeters higher than previous model. You get a sizable boot of 502 liters plus 27 liters of a frunk. The A6 Etron Avant with the smaller 83 kilowatt battery starts at 64,000 in UK. However, if you want the version with the larger 100 kilowatt battery and Quattro, they range between 70 and 85,000 pounds.
Also, interior wise, I'm not a huge fan of this piano black accents in the middle. I know this will scratch, and I wish this was in a different color, and to be honest, I would not have that in this piano black if this would be my car. This car is also equipped in a beautiful panoramic roof, which really adds light to the interior of this car. It really brightens it up. In terms of the digital dash, I think that it's okay. I actually quite like the colors, quite like the graphics. They're not too much in your face, they're quite subtle. I like how this screen curves around you, which is what I was missing in the previous models, where everything was flat and it had a lot of different shapes and angles. This one feels definitely better for and driver focus. So let's summarize this car. Who this car is for? Well, it's for everyone. Whoever wants a comfortable car which is capable of taking a whole family for a holiday, which is capable of doing everything pretty much. For the daily driving, this feels very comfortable and very nice. I would not be disappointed by any means if this would be my daily. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure you give this video a like, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you shortly in the next one. Thank you for watching. Goodbye. Do widzenia.